Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Fishbowl. As always, I'm Preston.
I'm Rayna.
And we are here with another very special guest. We are on a hot streak of special guests here on the Fishbowl. We are here with Miss Lydia. Lydia, welcome on to the Fishbowl.
Hi, everybody.
Yes, we love having you here. Lydia is one of our amazing licensed mental health counselors at Foundations. We love having you. You've been there for...
I'm going on a year.
Yes,
Hey.
I know.
Yes.
That is amazing. We love celebrations, and I guess we can roll right into celebrations. This week we've had a very successful customer appreciation week here at Foundations. I would say successful,
I would.
If you guys have seen on the Facebook, we have had Jamie and Bree handing out some goodie bags. They've given out sparkling pens, stickers, air fresheners, a lot of cool things. Let's not even forget about the amazing coffee truck that we had outside of the office yesterday. Shout out Juniper Mountain Coffee.
Yes, they were amazing. Absolutely. Did you get
I loved
one?
it.
Oh,
I had an espresso, so
There we go. I had the American honey that was like a cinnamon honey with a nice cold foam on the top. It was
nice.
so good. I was like, okay, see, they talked about maybe opening up a Suntree location, and I was like, I need that now. So very, very good. Shout out them. Today, you guys might have seen in the office, there was a poster on the front door. Yeah. There's the...
and pop bagels.
Pop
too.
bagels, yes.
They donated. Did you get a bagel yesterday?
I did.
So amazing.
Pop bagels are so good.
Yeah, they've got a different concept, which I thought was super cool. Yeah. I had the banana bread cream cheese with chocolate chip banana, which is amazing. But they don't... like have sandwiches. It's not your traditional like bagel shop. They only have like 4 types of bagels, 4 types of like cream cheeses. It's like in and out. Apparently they're from like New York and upstate. But it's just they want you to eat it hot. You rip it. They're not about slicing it. They're not about, so it's like a rip and dip. And it was really good, though. So thank you so much for supporting our customer and staff appreciation. So absolutely.
The Fishbowl might be becoming a food podcast. We might have a weekly food section. But I guess to kind of start off this new episode, Lydia, go ahead and kind of tell us what you specialize in. We are all about engaging in the different fields of mental health, because if last week we talked about how mental health is not some linear line, like two-sided coin. There's so many different avenues of it. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what you specialize in for Foundations.
Well, the way I approach therapy is I tell my clients it's a journey, and there's nothing wrong with that, and there's nothing wrong with going to therapy. And sometimes you are okay, and then something will happen in your life, and you go back to therapy, and it's more about your overall well-being. That's how I put it to them.
I love that. Therapy is a journey. I think we've talked similar about how, you know, it's never a negative thing to seek mental health help at all.
Breaking that stigma.
Breaking the stigma of mental health help. Therapy is negative or for the weak-minded. That's just not the case, obviously. And I couldn't agree with that statement more, you know, being a journey. As someone who's, you know, been open on this podcast about I am somebody who goes to therapy, it's definitely a journey. I could tell you the talks and the conversations I've had with my therapist when I want to say I've been going for about 5 months now.
Nice.
5 months about now. And the conversations I've had with my therapist from 5 months ago to now, it's night and day. You know, you get to understand each other, and it's kind of like
that's rapport building.
You know, it's a two-way, it's definitely a two-way avenue, because if you either don't let your therapist know you, then it's not going to go anywhere. But then at the same time, if you don't get to know your therapist or listen to the advice of your therapist, then it's also not going to go anywhere. You know, I feel like sometimes I've heard some stories of people who come and seek mental health help, but then it's like, well, they're just my therapist. They're supposed to know everything and they're supposed to automatically help me. Like,
and it's not like that. We're human too. And that's the other thing that I try to project, that, hey, I can relate on a personal level. I mean, I have my credentials, I have my experience, my professional experience, but I can also relate on a personal level. So I can relate to the feeling, maybe not the, type of situation. So, I deal with a lot of people that are, struggling with anxiety, which is almost everyone, stress, mood disorders. And I usually see that they're so hard on themselves. It's like they gotta do this and they gotta do that, and it's like, slow down.
Yeah,
slow down.
Breathe.
Everybody's rushing. Everybody rushes, and I think some of that is from society puts that on us, is that you gotta go, 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 and nowadays, and that started, I don't even know. I mean, it's like even kids nowadays are overscheduled with practices and different sports and different clubs and everything. But and my goodness, our phones, if you don't return a text within 30 seconds to some people, they're like, oh, you're ignoring me, and oh, somebody else is more important than me, or it's crazy.
I'm very big on that. And anyone who knows me, I tell them, like, they're looking at the phone and I'm like, looking at them and I'm like, can't you do that later? Because I'm in front of you. So why don't you connect with me?
Exactly.
Put the phone away.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about younger people. I'm talking about older generations.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, what?
I agree with you. Lydia, the other day I was saying something to somebody and they're like, oh, it's just this generation. And I'm like, oh, no. It doesn't matter if you've got a 13-year-old, a 23-year-old, a 33-year-old, a 43-year-old, a 53-year-old. It is society right now, I feel like.
Or an 80-year-old.
Okay. Let's go to, absolutely.
All the way. Because as you guys know, at Foundations Counseling, we see anyone from age 4 to 84.
Absolutely.
So we'll throw in.
I have a 90-year-old.
I was going to say we're going to have to stretch that to 94 now.
We're up even further now, so that's great. No, but I agree. I think the younger generation does get a lot of flack for it because we're the ones who are growing up. But if you guys go back and listen to Bob's episode where he talks about, I forget who it was quoting, but it was a philosopher from I want to say Socrates. And he was like pretty much talking all about how kids are a wreck. They destroy, they're a menace. So people have always thought that about the younger generation. You know what I mean? Like that is part of human nature, and growing up is like, oh yeah, kids and these younger people, they are going to be immature. That's part of living. That's part of growing up. But now, especially since, like we were just talking about before filming, the technology revolution, you're seeing a lot of that flack fall on the younger generation for it because we're the more prominent generation online. We're the more tech savvy generation. We post more on Instagram. And yeah, we probably are harsher than older, but we're also learning at a better rate than older generations that now that everybody has a voice doesn't mean you should use it for harm, and also means that you just speaking how you feel like you want to speak online doesn't mean there's no consequences for making a post online. And I feel like our younger generation is finding that out in some cases the hard way, but in other cases they're learning not to be as mean or as vulgar online because you are seeing that there's consequences for actions.
Absolutely.
And I would say that, with technology, it's how you use it, right? And social media, it could be used for good. And like you said, it could be used, or it could impact in a negative way. So my thing is having that balance and knowing what works for you specifically. Some people will take 1 hour out of the day and then, go through their social media and then they put their phone away. Some people, change their notifications. Some people just keep it to when they go into their laptop. So there are ways that, you can monitor yourself and see how that impacts your mental health. I can tell you that when I started to shift away from social media, my mental health got better.
Yeah, I've seen, like, so if I was going to my screen time recently, I've seen my total time spent on different apps such as Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, kind of in a downward trend. And I just feel like that's because I've just been out doing more, but I've also been more motivated to get out and do more because I'm in a better spot. I don't want to sit in my bed during sunset anymore. Like, I don't want to go through that. Like, I saw a video online and it was talking all about how this guy in his 30s, 40s, I think, who still has a lot of, that's not old at all.
No.
And he still has so much life left to live. I feel like I've missed too many sunsets. And ever since that I've seen that video, I will, even if I've already got my workout in for the day, or, I'm tired, if I look outside and I see, the sky has granted us a great night of a sunset, I'll go and I'll walk down the street or a mile or a couple miles or whatever it is and just be outside, be in the moment, call one of my friends who I haven't talked to in a little bit, listen to my music, or I'll just listen to nothing and just desensitize for a little bit. It just depends on how far, what I'm doing, but it is breaking free of that, because although there is such a negative stigma around social media for a lot of people, I do agree with you. It's how you use it. Mm-hmm. There is something freeing about kind of breaking those chains that social media, because I feel like even if you use social media for good, it can still create those chains that just might not be the best for you or your mental health.
And, going back to what you were saying about, the sunsets and all that, and it's in my experience and again, my journey. It's the simplicity of things. We, just little things. And there are little things in my case that make me happy. But then I see people, again, family, people in my office where they're like, I got to get this. I got to get the new iPhone. I got to get the car. I got to get, and they're like, so, I got to get that promotion. And again, I'm not saying to settle, but do pay attention to what you have now in the present.
What is your simple thing? Do you mind sharing that?
A simple thing for me, music. I was just in the car and I'm listening to music and I'm just like jamming to the music, I'm parked, I'm not driving, but that lifts my spirits.
100%. And we've talked, and so my little thing, and we've talked about this, that music and was a big part of our episode. I love that we're having references to past episodes. This is amazing. With Miss Alicia. That was the music is art. Music is an art. And absolutely. And one of my little things that we talked about a little bit last week was the importance of movies. Movies are one of my little things. Yes. I just can sit here and I can watch movies on end and end. And I kind of wanted to take that too with your simple things, enjoying the simple things, and also take it down an avenue of everybody's simple or enjoyable things is different.
Mm-hmm. Oh, goodness.
And I saw something where it was a quote where like, don't yuck somebody's yum, where it's pretty much saying like, if somebody is like excited, if somebody's eyes light up about something, I don't care what it is. I don't care if it's a blanket you crocheted. I don't care if it's the Super Bowl. I don't care if it's the new video game you bought. If somebody's eyes light up about something, in no way, shape, or form should you shut that down.
Cheer them on.
Do you have to get it? Maybe not. You don't have to necessarily understand every facet of it, but as long as you don't sit there and be like, oh, well, this isn't my cup of tea, so I'm just going to either A, crap on it, or B, just like turn my ears off and just kind of blankly like.
Well, I think people that do that are struggling with their own personal, whether it's self-esteem or their own personal happiness. It's also, I love the don't yuck someone's yum. That's amazing.
I did not come up with that.
I love that. I've always heard don't let someone steal your sparkle.
Or raining on your parade.
Yes, someone's trash is someone else's treasure, those things. But that one is amazing. But I think that's beautiful. And Lydia can probably, and you can too, Preston, just being in the office. And that is one of Foundation's mission, especially for the staff and the employees and our our whole internal message within our walls is to lift each other up and to be there for each other, because I was just saying this, I think yesterday, is we all have our own journeys that we have outside of our offices. And we have to check those when we're going inside as putting on our therapist hats. And so once we open up our doors to see each other, we really should be there like, hey, how are you? I got you. What's going on? Like, let's be there for each other, not bringing on like that negative and feeling that heaviness, because it's hard.
Horrible.
Well, anytime you add heaviness into anything, that's where it becomes, I like to say that's where you almost like work can, or like a job can become work. The saying where if you do something you love, you don't really work a day in your life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's how I feel.
Exactly.
I feel the same way. I love what we do.
The second you add anything heavy into something like that is the second it can become work and not be as enjoyable and drag on. And I feel like as long as you kind of have a team, whether it's a sporting team, whether it's your therapy team, whether it's your partner in life, whether it's the person you go to work out with, whether it's the group of friends you still hang out with and catch up with once a year, as long as you have that, it goes but down from that team, I guess we could also call it that base. You're going to have a better quality of life.
Absolutely. And I have to say, going back to work at Foundations, there's one thing that makes that a place, I call it my happy place. I mean, I have stressors, with the documentation and stuff like that, as we all do. But in general, I love going there. And your team, Rayna, I mean, they are amazing. Ever since I started, there hasn't been one person. I mean, everyone, anything I need. When I'm feeling like, man, I messed up here, don't worry, it's okay, and they lift me up,
got
and
this.
and they ask me how I'm doing. They'll knock on the door. Are you okay? Is everything okay? Like, I just love the vibes. And Rayna, you've done absolutely amazing. And I am going to say one more thing, that we're talking about the newer generations. You're shaping the younger therapists. You're shaping the new generation of therapists.
That's what we're trying to do, definitely. And the idea of that. But I always say it's all of us, it's our home, it's your home. And that's all of us being there together. And that's, and doing that takes time. I mean, that's one of the things that I love about being a qualified supervisor and being able to have the interns and the student interns. And, I've had some of them reach out to me actually because of the 7 years and seeing all this stuff, and just thanking me for the journeys that they being there and all of that. And some of them have just turned to telehealth practices, and some of them have their own practices now. And I'm like, hey, I'm so proud of you. And I thank them too, because everyone has been part of that. And it's so amazing.
So now,
journey. I love that.
That said, isn't that more valuable than money? I mean, honestly,
all day long. I think
it gets into the conversation of memories. Money comes back. You can't take it to the grave. I know we've talked about that before. You can't take money to the grave, but you can take the memories. You can take the people. You can take the quality of life. That's what you take with you.
Absolutely.
But we really do have a good team. And
that's the thing about the value and valuing a person and who they are. And that to me is how you treat someone. Exactly what you say, walking by their door and saying, hey, how are you? And that value right there means more to me than if someone left and walked by my door and didn't say anything. And it's priceless. And I agree. I wanted to ask before we wrap up this episode. So what is your biggest thing that you think that you give to any of your clients, like as far as their journey, like what is your recommendation for them to be present in their current journey? How do you try to hone them in? And is it different for your ages that you work with? Because I know primarily you work with young adults and up, right?
So, anytime you talk about mindfulness or meditation, and they're like, so I try to stay away from those words. But my biggest thing is, one, for them to feel like they have, and you talked about this in the other episode, they have choices. I want them to feel empowered. And to live in the moment, and the way I explain mindfulness without using the word mindfulness is looking at, slowing down, taking a step back. Just do that. Slow down, take a step back before you say anything, before you do anything. So that's one of the things. And also, looking at their strengths. What do you have that's good, that's going for you? Because we're always like pathologizing and depression and this and that, but what are your strengths? What are some things that are good in your life, and what can you develop that? Can you make it, better? Or there's always room for improvement. So, it's just the hope and for them to know that at the end of the day, even if it doesn't feel like it, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, you got it.
And I tell that to myself too.
Sometimes, the best person you can ask for advice is yourself, and to look in the mirror.
Look in the mirror. Absolutely. We have to.
You're your biggest fan, but at the same, we always talk, like you said, you talk about the negatives and all that. So you're your biggest critic. At the same time, you should also be, if you live a good life, you should be your biggest fan and be that first person to say it's all gonna be okay. So I feel like if we could, use this week's one-liner to leave you guys with, in the end, it's a journey, and it's all gonna be okay.
Love it. Absolutely.
I love that too.
Yeah.
It's all gonna be okay.
Lydia, thank you so much for joining us on this episode of The Fishbowl.
Thank you for having me.
That will do it for this episode, guys. As always, I'm Preston.
I'm Rayna.
I'm Lydia.
And thank you guys so much for listening to this episode of The Fishbowl. We'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.
Bye.